If you're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it.
Yeah,
a lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A ton of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah,
Still. I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
Correct.
Rogan doesn't waste a second peeling back the glossy veneer, stripping away the illusion that polish equals substance. He takes aim at the smooth speeches, the rehearsed gestures, and the media-friendly persona, showing them for what they are. Set pieces in a never-ending performance. The so-called charisma, Rogan argues, is nothing but stagecraft, a role played with precision but still a role. The vanishing acts during tough moments? Not strategy, just avoidance. The celebrity-style branding? A substitute for real conviction. With sharp humor and cutting clarity, Rogan reframes the image of statesmanship into something far less flattering. A political salesman draped in presidential polish, selling style where substance should be.
To volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country. Now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto.
Rogan sharpens the knife further by mocking how Obama's mystique has been carefully packaged as if every word carries the weight of history, even when it's just recycled talking points dressed up with gravitas. The cadence, the hand gestures, the camera-ready smiles. Rogan rips into it all as if he's reviewing a Broadway audition. To him, Obama's greatest talent isn't policy or leadership, but presentation. Turning politics into a Netflix special where the audience leaves inspired, but can't remember a single concrete solution offered. Under Rogan's lens, the soaring rhetoric looks less like vision and more like marketing, slick, flawless, and ultimately hollow.
Doesn't give a
Here in the United States, countless publications provoke offense. Like me, the majority of Americans are Christian, and yet we do not ban blasphemy against our most sacred beliefs.
He doesn't give a they're
That's
just
a flat
going
out
for
goddamn.
it.
As president of our country and commander-in-chief of our military, I accept that people are going to call me awful things every day, and I will always defend their right to do so.
Flat out lie.
Efforts to restrict speech can quickly become a tool to silence critics and oppress minorities. We do so because, given the power of faith in our lives, the strongest weapon against hateful speech.
Rogan digs deeper into that chameleon routine, pointing out how Obama's greatest skill isn't leading but shape-shifting, always adjusting just enough to stay beloved, while never committing to anything risky. He laughs at how Obama can deliver an entire speech that feels profound, only for listeners to realize afterward that nothing concrete was actually said. It's the art of sounding transformative while staying perfectly safe. Rogan paints it as political karaoke. The melody is inspiring, the performance smooth, but the lyrics are empty, and everyone's too caught up in the vibe to notice.
This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
Rogan doubles down on that illusion, calling Obama less a transformational leader and more a master illusionist. The aura of hope, the cinematic presence, the effortless cool. It's all packaging, Rogan argues, a political brand polished to perfection. Strip away the lighting and applause, and what's left is a man who mastered optics while leaving behind a legacy padded with speeches instead of substance. The punchline? Obama's real superpower wasn't change, it was making people believe that style could be mistaken for progress.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
when he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling a watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Rogan doesn't hold back, framing Obama's post-presidency not as a dignified retirement, but as a monetized encore. He paints the Netflix deals, Spotify exclusives, and global lecture circuits as less about sharing wisdom and more about brand expansion. Obama, Rogan argues, isn't just an ex-president, he's a lifestyle product, a walking franchise complete with premium pricing. The irony, Rogan notes, is that the man once sold as the antidote to corporate politics now operates like the slickest CEO in the game, profiting off the very aura of hope and change he left behind.
Must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
Rogan cuts straight through the nostalgia haze, calling out how Obama's legacy survives more on vibes than results. The soaring speeches and lyrical delivery, Rogan argues, were less about driving action and more about soothing people into accepting the status quo. He slams the carefully curated cool president persona, pickup games, celebrity selfies, playlist drops as branding exercises designed to distract from how little risk Obama was willing to take. The trick, Rogan points out, is Obama's gift for sounding profound while saying next to nothing. Every crisis became a commencement address, polished enough to inspire but vague enough to dodge accountability.
Look at the policies and the attacks on whistleblowers and drone strikes and all the other shit that happened during that administration, and the coup in Russia. And like, there's a lot that's, from a foreign policy perspective, that's very similar to what George Bush was doing. But what they were doing was highlighting social justice issues that came about during his administration, largely obscured the fact that the foreign policies were very similar to what George Bush was doing.
Rogan rips into that act with surgical sarcasm, saying Obama's entire shtick is political hot yoga, stretching himself into whatever pose the moment requires, always balanced, always photogenic, but never actually breaking a sweat. The applause lines land, the audience feels enlightened, and yet nothing changes once the lights dim. Rogan jokes it's less statesmanship and more guided meditation. Breathe in hope, breathe out accountability. The image of Obama as the calm in the storm, Rogan argues, is just marketing genius. He didn't calm the chaos, he narrated over it with the cadence of a TED Talk while the mess underneath went unchallenged.
There is what Obama said on the same video. There is what Trump actually said. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. And he's talking about George Washington. He said George Washington had slaves. Let's play it.
On both sides of a white supremacist rally.
Had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down a very, very important statue from Robert E. Lee to another name. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Excuse me, how about Thomas Jefferson? Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned.
Rogan twists the knife by laughing at how the Obama brand runs with the precision of a Fortune 500 company. The Netflix specials, the Spotify playlists, the memoir tours, they aren't accidents, they're campaigns. Not for office this time, but for mythology. Rogan says it's like watching a retired athlete who spends more time curating his highlight reels than admitting the games he lost. The documentaries? Soft-focused nostalgia. The speeches, prepackaged soundtracks of hope. The timing, always perfect, always marketable. Rogan sneers that it's not legacy building, it's legacy selling. And the audience keeps buying because the packaging is irresistible. Presidential gravitas wrapped in Hollywood gloss. Underneath, though, Rogan insists it's just another hustle, slicker than most, sure, but a hustle all the same.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
Policy of my administration is to encourage transparency. Why my emails, the BlackBerry that I carry around, all those records are available.
Congress recognized the Frankensteinian monster they were creating by authorizing a covert, permanent Department of Dirty Tricks, and this is their phrase, not mine.
Hillary has instructed those emails that had to do with official business need to be disclosed.
To infiltrate and co-opt the universities, the unions, the media, the politicians, the judges, the whole swarm arm.
Rogan doubles down on that hypocrisy, mocking how Obama's activism is basically a curated playlist of safe bets. Climate change? Sure, but only in broad strokes. Racial justice? Yes, but never in a way that risks his donor circle. Rogan laughs that it's less activism, more brand maintenance, like picking the right wine to match the vibe of the dinner party. And the celebrity circuit? That's where Rogan goes for the jugular. He paints Obama as the guy who preaches community values on stage, then hops on a yacht with tech moguls and Hollywood A-listers as soon as the cameras are off. The image of the cool, relatable leader collapses when your downtime looks like a luxury magazine spread. Rogan's punchline is brutal. Obama didn't retire into public service, he retired into VIP service. Always in the right rooms, always with the right people, and always just far enough away from the real struggles of the people he claims to represent.
You never seen it?
No.
It's amazing. He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for.
Rogan frames it like the ultimate long con. Obama as less of a statesman and more of a lifestyle brand, packaged with the same precision as an iPhone launch. The crisp suit? That's the packaging. The Spotify playlists? That's the marketing campaign. The speeches? That's the ad copy. It's not governance, it's product placement. And the hope he sold? Rogan laughs that it's basically the political version of comfort food, satisfying in the moment, empty a few hours later. The real sting comes when Rogan strips away the illusion of legacy. Obama's not a movement, he's a market. A franchise that thrives on nostalgia, image management, and perfectly timed drops of content to keep the brand alive. Rogan leaves no doubt. The show isn't over because with Obama, the performance never ends. It just moves to a different stage with higher ticket prices.
I've had candid conversations with Tulsi Gabbard about what it was like.
It's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal.
She's a person, tries to be friends with everybody, tries to reach across the aisle. She's got that whole aloha.
Rogan rips into the spectacle with surgical mockery, painting Obama's post-presidency as less statesmanlike and more like a side hustle in brand management. He jokes that the man didn't retire, he rebranded. Instead of policy, it's playlists. Instead of leadership, it's lighting angles. Every documentary feels like a mirror polished so clean that history itself can't smudge it. Rogan laughs at the predictability. Always inspirational, always safe. Always starring Obama as the wise narrator guiding America through a story that somehow ends with him glowing in soft focus. It's not civic duty, it's content curation. And the fans? They're not engaging, they're subscribing. Paying for the privilege of reliving a fantasy. Rogan's punchline hits hardest when he sums it up. Obama didn't leave the stage, he just switched networks.
Isn't it crazy? Like when Obama was president, worst they could get on him is remember when he wore that tan suit?
Why did you take issue with the suit?
Because you know the image makers in the White House. Here's a president coming out at such a serious moment where he should be addressing the country on such a serious matter, and he looked like he was on his way to a party at the Hamptons.
He never had a single moment publicly where he stumbled, where he said something really stupid. This is insane.
Rogan torches that cycle as the ultimate hustle, leadership as subscription service. He cracks that Obama's brand works like a luxury fragrance line. Same formula, new packaging, endlessly resold to a loyal fan base that confuses consumption with civic duty. The books, the podcasts, the speeches, they're not revelations, they're reruns wrapped in a bow of moral authority. And every time the political storm clouds gather, Obama pulls the Houdini act, vanishing until the coast is clear, only to re-emerge with a flawless cameo that trends on Twitter. Rogan calls it pop star politics. Drop just enough content to stay relevant without ever risking real backlash. It's less about leading and more about timing, and the act keeps going because the audience keeps buying tickets. In Rogan's hands, the myth of the post-presidential statesman collapses into what it really is. An endless performance where the product isn't progress, it's Obama himself.